舱外航天服啊，它有一个支持的时间限制要求。我这个它的声导系统啊，还有电力供应啊，这些东西都是有时间要求的。
So, even if the astronaut was able to open the hatch after such a long depressurizing process, his spacesuit would no longer be capable of functioning during a spacewalk. The designers soon found the reason for why depressurizing was taking so long, but they also realized there was no way of shortening the process significantly. During depressurization, the capsule gradually enters a near vacuum state. In the Shenzhou-7 spacecraft, the orbital module also functions as the airlock module, and because of this, its internal systems are far more complex than in a separate airlock module. It was these special systems that were causing the depressurization to be so slow. The regulations stipulated that the depressurization could not last longer than 20 minutes. If they were to attempt to open the module hatch before the depressurization was complete, the force required to do so would be beyond the survival of the astronauts. The challenge facing the designers was how to ensure that the module hatch could be opened. They continued to work on improving the depressurizing and repressurizing systems, but at the same time they concentrated on facilitating entry to and exit from the orbital module. They succeeded in what had initially seemed like an impossible task. More important than opening a hatch on a spacecraft is closing it.
这个门的这个关闭，还有它的气密性的可靠性的保障上面，就关系到整个任务的成本，也关系到航天员的安全。
人要在真空状态下，这肯定会死掉。一个是首先那个你就没氧气供应了，另外一个，就像爆裂啊，你体内的压力要比外边压力要很高，气管就像爆裂。
The spacecraft has 6 hatches, and in order to guarantee safety inside it, the designers conducted tests on all of them. They also concentrated on making it as easy as possible for the astronauts to exit and re-enter the orbital module. As a result, the astronauts, even in their spacesuits, were able to enter and exit through the 850mm hatches on the Shenzhou-7 with relative ease. In view of the different missions to be undertaken by Shenzhou-7, certain modifications were added compared to the Shenzhou-6. Since the main task of Shenzhou-7 was to undertake a spacewalk, the orbital module would not remain in orbit after the mission, so there was no need for the solar panels seen on Shenzhou-6. Moreover, handrails were added to assist the astronauts in their spacewalk. The designers had to consider every possible eventuality and conduct ceaseless testing to make sure that Shenzhou-7 met the requirements of the astronauts in every way possible. They even moved their laboratory deep underwater in order to simulate a space environment.
就航天穿着水条服，从门里头进到门外，再从门外在外面做出舱行走，然后再进门，整个这个过程，它是先抓的哪个扶手，后抓住哪个扶手，然后它的那个拉绳是放在哪个那个限制器上或哪个扶手上，包括时间，你先做这步，这步的时间多少，然后回来的时间大多少，这个又包括一些人机界面的设计，包括操作时间、程序的设计。
As a result of their underwater observations, the designers made modifications on the original design.
尽量把一些问题在发上天之前都把它找出来，解决掉，解决一个问题，航天员就少一个风险。
The design team did their utmost to ensure that the spacecraft was as safe and comfortable as possible for the astronauts. Traveling in space is not the romantic adventure it's sometimes portrayed to be, chiefly because the astronauts have such limited room that they may suffer physical and mental side effects. To make the astronauts as comfortable as possible, 3 special seats were designed for them. During the launch and return, the astronauts would be curled up in these seats rather like fetuses in their mothers' wombs. The position is ideal for protecting the spine.
对咱们飞船来说，内部呢有很多仪器设备。那有些仪器设备如果是不需要航天操作的，咱们想办法的话呢，就不让航天看到。我们通过一些内装饰层、内装修这些，就把这些东西呢都藏起来。简单讲就藏起来，因为航天不需要操作它。那么在装修啊、装饰上面的话，也可以做的色调上更柔和一些。
The astronauts are also served by an air purification system, environmental control functions, and a good lighting system. The designers did everything in their power to make the capsule as comfortable a place as possible for the astronauts to live in. The design work for Shenzhou-7 began 3 years ago. Throughout the entire design process, the testing has been rigorous. From tests on the orbital module to those on the whole spacecraft, from the training of the astronauts to simulations involving the spacecraft, launcher, and ground control staff, Shenzhou-7 has been subjected to every conceivable test. The designers of Shenzhou-7 stuck to the principle that the past successes counted for nothing.
关键你要是每一个环节都不能出问题，有一个环节出问题了，你所有的工作都白做了。
我们的飞船是载人的，我们的每项工作都关系到航天员的生命安危，因此这样的话，我们的工作的特点呢，就决定了我们必须要每项工作非常严格，非常做到位。
Thanks to the efforts of over 1,000 institutions and colleges and many thousands of researchers, the Shenzhou series of spacecraft has, over the past 10 years, seen considerable improvements. From the first manned space mission by Shenzhou-5 to the two-man extended mission by Shenzhou-6, and now Shenzhou-7's three-man mission including a spacewalk, China is making steady progress in fulfilling her dream of exploring outer space. In future, these spacecraft will, by taking astronauts, goods, and equipment into outer space, further the human exploration of our universe.